All right, I'm Adam, and I'm talking to Greig Nori of Treble Charger. How's it going?
It's going well.
Excellent. And Treble Charger just 2 months ago announced their reunion after, what, 6 years apart?
Oh no, we stopped playing. Last show we played was September 2003.
Oh,
we're,
so 9 years.
Oh yeah.
Please tell me what led to the reunion.
We got contacted by Sirius, satellite they're going to induct us into the Indie Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
And so as part of Canadian Music Week, and that's kind of I think what started off, because they asked us to play two songs, or if we'd be willing to play two songs, and we said yes. And then we thought, well, I wonder if since we're going to get together and learn these, and we have to put a band together for it, I wonder if we should maybe put feelers out there to see if anyone's interested in seeing a full show. And so we put a show up for sale at the Phoenix for March 21st, and I guess it sold pretty fast. So I think that gave us confidence that maybe there is people still out there that want to see us.
Well, it's in the past 9 years, you haven't been exactly hiding from the industry. You must have gotten tons of offers every so often.
Oh, you mean to reunite?
Yeah, to do a show.
No, actually, we never did. I mean, if the offers were coming through, it never trickled down to us. I mean, we haven't had a manager. We kind of, when we stopped playing, we kind of just shut everything down. So, no, I've never had an offer to place till now.
Really? Well, maybe it just seemed like,
now I feel
Greg's probably too busy, because you've been doing.
You know what? I certainly wasn't looking for any offers. That's for sure. Yeah. No, I can't think of anything that came through as an offer. I don't think I would have done it anyways.
Well, I want to ask you, because back when you announced that Treble Charger was, I guess we can call it a hiatus in retrospect, right?
I think it kind of broke up back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you consider that at the time?
And in fact, two of the members aren't back with us now. It's really just Bill and I. But we were like the songwriters of the band. And the band was really always been Bill and my band.
Right. When you made an announcement some years ago that Treble Charger were breaking up,
right,
you mentioned something to the effect of, if things had gone differently, it could have been easier to be in a band.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There was a lot of things that happened to us. We had a real rock. It was a real roller coaster. For the first three albums, we stayed on an indie label called Sonic Onion, and that was probably like the easiest and most fun time of the band. And then we got signed to an American major label, and I got to say that maybe the first album of being on that major in the States was pretty good, but the pressures that suddenly started rising, and the expectations, and then by the time we had done the American Psycho record, they actually, and here's the clincher, and a great example of the way that the music industry used to behave. I don't think they would get away with this as much as they were back then, but they used to have, they were very cutthroat. It was pure music business, and if you didn't fit into the mold, then you were let go. And they actually dropped us on the American Psycho record, like probably the best record we had ever written. And I was in LA mixing the record, and I had just come back, and we had top producers and mixers on this record. Like, we're talking like Tom Lord Alge was mixing the record. Like, that's like 10 grand a song, on an album. Like this, you can't get any bigger than this. And we had heard like that we had the president of RCA was just loving this American Psycho song. 2 weeks after I get back, I get a phone call from a manager, and they've dropped us. And it was probably the most surreal thing that's ever happened to me. I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand how I just wrote like probably the best album I think that we've ever written. And I'm thinking, how is it that you can arrive at this point as a songwriter and you get dropped? And I think from that point on, I think it was like a steady mistrust in the business. I think I got a distaste for it. I think that my childhood dreams had been shattered. If the American label had released that record, like, and after seeing it come out in Canada and it sold like over platinum, you can't help think that like something's horribly wrong here. I got to get out of this business. It's not where we're supposed to be. This album clearly, this song clearly was a hit song. It could have built an entire career for us around the world, and it was all robbed from us. So if you look at why we kind of walked away, I think at the end of the day, we did one more album after that. I think we felt like there was just too much like business bullshit that was going on. And we thought, a good time to get out of this is right now, when we're at the top of our game, is just walk away from this. And I think it was really to get out of a lot of the situations that we were in.
Had Wide Awake Board come out in Canada at that point?
No, and it had not come out.
Oh, that was just after you recorded it.
It was immediately after we recorded. Now, thankfully, the Canadian wing of RCA, they didn't let us go. They thought the Americans were nuts. And they were like, I don't know what's going on. I since found out later on what the story of the whole thing was, and I've told it many times at music schools around Canada that I speak at, just to tell them, like, here's the realities of the way the music business works. Now, thankfully, things are changing. I mean, they can't behave this irresponsibly anymore. They can't, play with people's dreams like this and destroy them. In the way that they used to be able to get away with. Frankly, I have a vendetta against them. I want to see them all go down. I'd have no problem that the music industry, on the label side of things, especially major, they're being flushed down the toilet right now. I can't wait for that day. I think that they've behaved for a number of years irresponsibly. I think that they've been overpaid and not acted responsibly, and I think now's their day that that's payback.
Do you think it's possible for a band or an artist to be big, really big,
today
without being part of the system?
I think more now than ever.
Right.
I mean, that's the dilemma, is that the music, that the internet and file sharing, it has sort of destroyed the music industry. People aren't paying for music anymore. But on the other hand, it's also allowed for a much better opportunity for a musician to not have to sign to a label, that can now market themselves through the internet, word of mouth. You know the stories you hear all the time of viral. You look at that band that did that song, that cover recently. Something on Walk Off the Earth.
Walk Off the Earth.
There's a great example.
Song.
Come up with a good idea. Like that's going to launch this band's career. They didn't have any kind of marketing money behind it. In fact, it didn't cost them anything to become suddenly 30 million viewers know about this band.
Yeah, and playing on TV. What's funny is
15 years, 10, 20 years ago, that would have been unheard of. You would never have the opportunity to do something like that.
What's funny is, though, that led to them getting signed to
afraid of heights.
Columbia.
Just freaked me out.
No.
This is giving me vertigo here, but I'm
don't
really
look down.
downplaying it.
Yeah, I won't tell you about the incidents,
ahead.
but I wonder how you feel about this. Walk Off the Earth, on the strength of that viral hit, actually got signed to Columbia Records.
Yeah, I know.
So it's kind of funny how that's seen as kind of the next step, just logically.
Well, you see, now that's great that you just brought that up. I actually know one of the people in that band, and I've almost wanted to reach out to them and say, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, you just broke yourselves 30 million viewers around the world, and you're now going to go and share this with some label that you've already done the work yourself. You've already come up with the great idea that got everyone to pay attention. Why in earth would you go and sign to a major label now? Like, if anything, go to a strong indie where you can cut a better deal with them, or just release your own record. There's people all waiting to hear it right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at Arcade Fire, Adele.
Arcade Fire
two pretty big
smart
success
enough
stories.
to know that. Yeah,
really.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe it's seen as a matter of need the money, need the distribution, the contacts.
That's just it. If you need the money, then the last thing you should have done is gone to a label. Because you can pretty much be guaranteed that those guys put a record out right now, that of that 30 million, I would guess around the world, like at least worst case 500,000 people are going to buy it, probably 1 million if we have something like that, with no label interest at all. Do you know how much money that band would make if they had just retained all of the earnings of it? They put an album up on iTunes. they're sharing about 30 cents a track. They're gonna, of the 99 cents of each. So if the album's about $10, they're probably gonna pay about $3 to iTunes for the whole thing, and they're gonna keep all the rest. Now, under a label, it won't be like that. They're going to probably retain about $1.50 of every album. Now, why in the world would you ever go and do something like this?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I
Exactly.
don't
It
have an
stumps
answer.
you. I know.
I mean, I think part of it is just it's the way it's always been done. There's that.
I think
there's
people.
That way of thinking,
I think you're absolutely right. I think what happens is that people don't. Even a band like that's had that many hits.
Yeah.
Still, I don't think trust the fact that they can still do it on their own. I think you're absolutely right.
It's having the guys with decades of experience
That's
behind
right.
you, the suits, so to speak.
I think it's a comfort, it's a security blanket.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. And so, I mean, obviously, you've learned a lot, to say the least, from the experience being in a successful band and also working with some pretty successful bands since Treble Charger broke up.
Yeah. Of course, that's another thing. Like there was clearly things that were taking over my life at the end of when we kind of called it quits with Treble Charger. The Sum 41 thing was consuming me wholly.
Did you ever expect them to get as big as they did?
No, that's actually not true. No, I did actually. I kind of knew that there was something about that band. Like I remember this guy named Michael McCarty, who was the president of EMI Publishing, and that was the first person I took Sum 41 to see. That's the first person I went to see about Sum 41. It was just me, and he said. I walked in. I was looking for money because I didn't have any to sink into this band, and all I knew is I needed to get raise something like $5,000 or $10,000 to bring this band into a studio and record them properly. But I didn't have enough money to pay for a whole record to be made. So I went to McCarty, and he kind of said, yeah, you can have the money almost within about 5 minutes of me sitting across the desk. And I remember asking him a year or so later, joking about that. And he goes, Greig, you had no idea. He goes, this twinkle in your eye about, and knowing who you were and your taste in music, he goes, I knew that you knew you were sitting on something ginormous. He said, I could just tell in your entire body language. He said, I would have been an idiot not to give you $5,000 to go and at least go see what this thing is that's freaking this guy out so much. So I guess the answer to that is just, I guess I kind of did know that it was going to be something.
Yeah. I love that story because that shows kind of the better side of the system to me, that level of trust
Michael
with
McCarty's
artists,
always
really.
been the better side of the music industry.
Wow.
Yeah. No, he has. I won't say that there aren't an exceptional few, but he's always been, I think, very upfront, very honest, and always approached things that way.
Okay. So if we can take it back to the reunion for a sec. So you have, 2 shows now, including the Indie Awards scheduled? That's on the March 24th. The Phoenix show's on the 21st, I believe?
Yeah, the Phoenix show's on the 21st, and the awards night is the 23rd.
Oh, okay. That's Sunday, I think.
And that's at the Royal York at the Fairmount.
Right,
The awards night.
Home
and the
base.
Phoenix show's on the 21st, and the Phoenix show is really our first show. It's going to be a full Treble Charger show.
So what are your feelings about this upcoming show? Nervous? Are you?
Yeah, I am. But an interesting thing happened. Bill and I just got together this past weekend, and to kind of relearn the songs. And it's the craziest thing, but it all just comes back. It's like my fingers had a memory of their own. And I was thinking, okay, what's the next part? And then I just knew where to go. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So it's all coming back pretty fast.
Have you put the set together or not yet?
Yeah, pretty much.
How did you go about doing that? Just greatest hits? Did you kind of get a sense of what the fans wanted to hear, maybe?
We did a mix of 2 things. One was we knew the songs you have to play that were the hits, because I'm sure that's what people want to come and see. And frankly, most of the hit songs that we did write, I've always felt very proud of those songs. And so I have no problem playing those. But the other thing we did was we thought, well, there's also no pressure here. We're not doing this for trying to build a career anymore.
Right.
So or we're not trying to build a fan base. So what we did was we took the hits, and then we took every other favorite song that we've ever had between Bill and I that we would like to play, that we sometimes haven't been able to play in past days.
If
you
you're
know?
promoting a certain record, or
Yeah, because it's a different game then. I mean, when you're trying to build a career and there's a bunch of people coming out to show and you have a brand new album out, you end up playing a
Right.
lot from that album, and you try and promote the new album while playing the hits from the past album. Like, it's a different game, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different types of fans. I mean, I've known people who, love NC-17, and
Yeah,
after that,
this is right.
kind
But
of faded it.
and now
the opposite too. So
yeah, and those people I'm hoping are going to be some of the people that will come out on the 21st.
Oh yeah.
But back when we were doing American Psycho record, like, it was a different fan base. It was a different game, you know. Sometimes those songs that I'm talking about that we would want to play, like, they just wouldn't go over live that well back then.
Okay. Yeah. So just
Although, sorry, just to finish
no,
that.
no, go ahead. Yeah.
That also could have been our mistake. Like, maybe we should have been playing more of those. I don't know.
Like shoehorn them into sets.
What's
between shoehorn them in between the hits.
Yeah, maybe. You know, maybe we were always grossly underestimating, like, maybe how good those songs were. I don't know. I guess we always felt nervous to play them.
Well, everyone's tastes change. I'm
Yeah.
sure even that applies to those who created the songs.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So a couple more questions. I have to ask. Did you ask the other guys from the band if they wanted to rejoin?
Yeah, we did. Except, I'll tell you, we didn't really ask them. Well, we knew that the drummer couldn't do it anyways, because what he does for a living now, and he's got a kid and stuff, and we just knew he wouldn't be able to go and do some of the, like, we actually are going to continue playing throughout the summer. We're playing a bunch of summer festivals around Canada.
Cool.
So that was one of the things, and that became clear that he couldn't do it. But there was also the other reason was there was sort of there's Bill and I kind of wanted to do this, and also kind of make it something fresh about it. So we kind of made, because we know we might want to continue this for a bit, and we just thought there was a little bit of bad blood between everybody when it left, and we just didn't want to really take a chance of bringing that back. So we thought, it really has always been our band since day one. We're the ones that started this. We're the ones that brought them into it, and they weren't even the original members. Neither of them were.
Oh, I thought Rosie was.
No, there was a bass players before Rosie even, yeah.
Okay.
And he kind of came in around, I'm not sure, but there was different, incarnations of the band when it first started out, and it's just, I don't know, this is something that I think's more for Bill and I right now.
Okay, fair enough. Well, okay, two more questions now
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Who is on bass and drums?
Drum is going to be a friend of mine named Jason Pierce, who's he was in a band called The Weeknd originally, but he's now like the current like drummer for Paramore in the States.
Okay, I
And
think that's where I know.
yeah, and he's become a good friend of mine. Actually, I've gotten to know him because I produce music for a living, and I've often used him on sessions because he's just a rock solid drummer, like probably the best drummer I've ever come across. So when we talked about this, I thought, well, I know who I want drumming for. And now he's brought in a friend of his that's a bass player that we're going to try out, and I can't remember his name right now, but we're about to meet him tonight. Now, we're not sure that, because we have a couple other people on the sidelines waiting, but Jason really was like promoting this guy, so we're gonna give him a try.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned you're going to do some festivals, shows in
Yeah.
the summer after the couple next weekend. Beyond that, I have to ask, any talking new music or just getting familiar again with the old stuff first?
Any talk of doing new music?
Yeah.
Yeah, there has been. I've been, see, the timing of this has been really interesting because it just so happened, I didn't write songs for myself for a long time after Treble Charger. I started really throwing myself into like co-writing with Sum 41 and all the stuff I've done since then, like Headley and
1 Second Too Late.
and it's just one after another, and I didn't really want to write for myself because I wanted to get out of like the kind of genre that I was writing, that I kind of left Treble Charger in, and it only came back to me in about the last year and a half, where suddenly these songs started coming out of me, and I'm really excited about the songs. To me, they're kind of a lot more the kind of songs I've always wanted to be able to write, and then lo and behold, like suddenly Bill pops up again in my life, and I'm thinking, this is strange. Like, just as like my creative juices are flowing again, this guy shows up again, and now I'm thinking like, I'm gonna bring these songs, collaborate with him. He said he's got some that he's sitting on. So, you know, I don't know why this all happened, but it seems to be the timing's like strangely good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely is for fans too. A lot to look forward to between the shows and hopefully new album sometime.
Yeah.
I probably not
thing,
coming
though,
out on a major label or
no, no,
not this
never.
time.
And I can say too that I know that if there were an album, it wouldn't sound like anything we've done in the past, because I know where these new songs are, and I know what I want them to sound like, and they won't be like past Treble Charger sound.
Really?
As much as you think that they're not going to, because I've run into this before, where you think you've really like done something that's really not sounding like what you think you sound like, and then at the end of the day you take a step back and you realize, oh yeah, I guess it does sound like us.
Well, nothing wrong with that, you know.
No,
a lot of people are into it, and you have a certain voice musically and vocally.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I'd want to go and do another record is because I kind of know the kind of music and album I want to make now. You know, it'd be a lot more like something like what Wilco would make, is because that's what I would always strive to do. And I think that's what I mean. Like, it wouldn't be like anything that, say, that made like Wide Awake Bored with had American Psycho in it would be.
Right.
I know that it would be very clearly different than that, but in my opinion, I hope it'll be even better than that.
Okay. Well, can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, thank
Greg,
you.
great to talk to you.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks so much
Adam.
for coming by.